most folks, obviously Florida folks anyways, are going to know who you guys are, but giving me a little background, where you're from, the league aspect, obviously, and kind of giving that history first before we bounce into like industry stuff. So, hey everyone, I'm Trey, and that guy is Frank, aka my dad. Our family has been in the alcohol business for over 30 years. We currently have 6 liquor stores and 2 bars in Tampa, Florida. Subscribe to our channel to get a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to operate in the liquor industry.
Trey, how do I get this camera to work?
So you want me to break it down? Go ahead. So we grew up in Lakeland, Florida, so not far from here. We played on a great football team in Lakeland, won 3 state championships there. And then we were fortunate enough to go to the University of Florida, where we attended college at, played with Tim Tebow and all the guys, Percy, Harvin, Brandon Spikes, all those great football players. Won national championship there in 2008. And then fortunate enough after that to be moved on to where he was drafted to the Steelers in the first round, 18th overall in 2010. And then I was drafted to the Dolphins the year after in the first round, 15th overall in 2011. So
crazy.
It's a crazy path, but we had great careers. We're very thankful for all the people that helped us along the way, because I mean, obviously when you make it to that far, your point in your life, it takes a lot of people. It takes a village, it takes an army of people, and it obviously took us to stay on the right path. And so it was a lot easier for us because we always had each other. So we push each other to the very top, out there every single day.
Pretty special that you guys both got. I mean, obviously you know that, but pretty insane.
It almost feels unreal at the point, right?
Yeah,
when you sit back and truly think about it, man, you blink your eyes and then it's all the way over, and you're like, dang, like, think about all the accolades, the teammates you play with.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool little experience, though, honestly. Like, and now we get to live vicariously through our nephews and our kids now, my daughters and things like that. So I think as you're younger going into it, you don't really understand what you're doing at the time, right? Yeah. And when you look back, you're like, man, you know what? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, being able to do it together is pretty insane, right? I mean, that's something that I don't know. Is there anyone else that you guys can think of history-wise that has had a similar path like that?
Well, the McCourty twins.
Yeah, the McCourty.
They played with the Patriots.
Okay,
and with the Titans.
Yeah, it was just us. We were just both fortunate enough to be first rounders, so it was like a different little path for us as far as when we got into the NFL. Because most of the twins that go in, one was either first rounder or was a late draft pick. But the other thing was the twins that are from here. Shaquille and
Griffin.
The Griffin twins.
Yeah.
The Griffin twins. Yep.
Yeah.
So they had the same kind of path, but we had each other, so it was awesome. Like, even at the end, I remember when I had my hip replacement, I was telling him he still had a year left, and I'm like, man, what are you gonna do? Like, you gonna be able to do it? He's like, man, that's tough. And so he made a decision. We both retired at the same time, and decided to take over this alcohol company and try and make it to the top.
Yeah, I mean, perfect segue going from NFL. Obviously, the money from the NFL is a huge factor. So, what was the factor of y'all going from NFL football players to getting into the alcohol industry? And did you find something in between that too? What was the business world?
We started off in the real estate world. We're still in it, right? Mm-hmm. So we came out in the real estate era where everything was super, super cheap, right? So we started off in Ohio, and got very, very blessed and luckily had some nice deals that pop off. And sometimes you see the first couple ones pop, you're like, man, wow, this is the best thing ever to do, right? And now you're in these deals now that take 7 to 10 years. You're like, Jesus Christ, like, I want the first 60 years quicker. But a guy came to us in year 6 or 7 while we was playing in the NFL. Like, he just wanted to sell his winery, right? He wanted to get back and go back to Italy. And he was selling it for a very low price at the time. We jumped on it, right? And I got very, very lucky. We didn't know what we had at the time. The biggest part of it, I mean, I know Ohio wines ain't the top market in the United States, right? But, we had an imported license that we brought in a lot of wines from Italy, Macedonia, and all across the United States. Outside the United States. But we actually even carried the Fendi family wine. So we was doing around 35,000 cases of imported and domestic wines at the winery. So we kind of seen the month-to-month P&Ls and the young activities that you can do still in the liquor game, right? So we went into retirement, and I got kind of, trying to still figure out life, right? Man, playing so long, you're like, man, I just want to hang out a little bit, right? Just see what life is on a day-to-day, dropping the kids off every single day. And, you start getting in the car rides, and the kids are like, well, I like when mommy does that. Like, okay, well, okay.
Yeah.
I got you on that, so I'm going to go revert to something else. And we hung out, and a lot of our friends work 9 to 5s, right?
Yeah.
You would think you play a long time, you're around sitting around all these multi. It's not even realistic, right?
Yeah.
You have your path of friends and all this other stuff, but we were trying to get to hang out with us on the boat on Monday through Friday. It was like, bro, we're going to start losing friends. Like, we're going to start getting fired.
Yeah.
So we got straight into the business part of it, right? We end up, I'll take that back. Matter of fact, when we first got down there, the guy came to us and was talking about investing in the JF Haydens, right? And it was just a mango liqueur at first. So most people don't even know, but JF Hayden stands for John and Florence Hayden. They played in the Hayden Mango in 1910 in Coral Gables, which kept homage to the name, right? So we just extended the trademark of the name. We put America's Craft Liqueur Company, and we just didn't want to switch each flavor to a different name profile. But we are one of the only liqueurs that kind of made in the United States. Most liqueurs are made outside the United States, so we take a lot of pride in that part of it. But as you see on the growth side of things, and it's so crazy what I tell Mike all the time is that, man, there was a lot of yeses when you play football, right?
Sure.
The only no you ever get is whenever you're at the house and you're with your significant other, and honestly, that's really a no, but it's a yes at the same time. You just don't have to carry it to the argument, right?
Yeah.
But on the business side of things, right, everything's a no until you really foster the yes, right? When you start fostering the relationships and you start getting out there and showing people how much you're behind your brand and what you believe in and the process of it, you really start seeing that no one needs an old brand, no one needs a new brand, right? It's all about the relationships in life now, right? Some of the decision makers ain't sitting back, sitting on multis of millions of dollars, right? So it's more of them getting around you, seeing who you truly are, what you're about, what the company's about, and that force there kind of mends the relationship to go to the next level. So
For sure. Relationships are huge.
you kind of seen it with us, you know what I mean?
Major. I think that was a thing that there's so many brands out there right now. There's so many products that are celebrity driven, athlete driven, and you never see them. And that's fine. They might repost a story or two. They might do a little social media, but the time that I got to meet, I think were you both at the golf tournament there, or was it just
it was me and my
yeah,
Ron,
yeah.
you know, Ron.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And so we were at the Mike Evans charity golf tournament. I come around the corner and you start hearing this chatter. Like, oh, one of the Pouncey brothers is here. One of the Pouncey brothers is here. And we go up there and you are literally talking about the brand. You're excited about the brand and you're pouring samples of it. And that to me was one of the most inspirational things to see when you have these guys with such a big, accolades and all the NFL things that go into it and all just, the big personalities that you guys are, but you're humble enough to be able to be behind the brand and literally bootstrap it, where I think makes a huge difference to industry folks in general, right? If it's bar folks or retail folks, whatever it is, but that was so cool to me that you guys literally were passionate about it and gave a shit about it and want to grow it, and I was like, all right.
And I was chasing you right after.
You were. No, 100%. Yeah, you 100% were. You got my number, we talked, and then, I had the mango back then, and for folks that don't know, for the channel, now we have, these are 5 flavors total?
Yeah, we just added one more 6 now, so we added the orange.
Okay.
Which we just did that because which people don't really know about distillery laws, anything you make in-house or bottle in-house is the only thing you can sell at your bar, right? So we have a distillery, we have a bar, a full-time bar that people can come into, so we had to put a triple sec factor in there to make sure that we can make the margaritas and all the other stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay, so started with the winery,
Yep.
then went into JF Hayden, and then it went to the distillery, or did it go into the whiskey?
So it went from JF Hayden's until we bought our distillery, right? We was
Okay.
distilling out of Cape Coral at first, and then we got the opportunity to be able to, buy a 10-year lease into Wynwood, Maze and Art District, end up growing the distillery that way. And with the distillery part of it, right? So everything that we make with JF Hayden's, everything is made in-house. We proof everything down. We got our formulation, how we make our products. But the only thing that we didn't want to make there in-house was the whiskey, right? Because the whole entire process. I mean, I see you traveling around all the time. You see how big them companies got to be. So we actually distill from Tennessee Distilling.
Okay.
We buy the toast from it and we bottle it at our place. So we're able to sell it at the bar. Obviously, this is our brand. We own everything in it, but that was one little thing I tell people all the time, man. If someone tries to sell you a Florida whiskey, man, you better go check it out or run out the front door.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a tough one, without a doubt. So hands are full. Obviously, what is the driving factor for y'all? Is it JF Hayden's? Is that kind of the key brand for you guys to be thoughtful about and push the most?
That's the biggest pusher for us. Does the most volume. So our goal is to sell that brand. And then we obviously own the distillery and then push another brand. But that's why we've been getting placements with the whiskey.
Yeah.
Because we were big whiskey drinkers. And so we're going to our bar every day and we ain't got no whiskey to drink, so we had to obviously formulate one. But
And we started to see it too, not like, we're growing out the business. So we went from the, from the mom and pop day-to-day working every single account, walking down the street, our bag on our shoulder, and now we've fostered the national account success, right? So now we're traveling around to all the big shows. We just came from the Patrick Henry showcase in Houston, landed here, and came right to our guy Trey.
I love it. I love it.
But we went out to Aspen Food and Wine Festival. We went to the Tales Cocktails in New Orleans. Yep. We're going to Vibes here coming up in February, and you start to see in San Diego, and you start to see that getting around the people, getting in front of them, truly fostering relationships, and they start. And I can't push this enough. Everything is relationships in life. I don't care if it's in the alcohol industry, it's the football industry, everything you do in life, you have to have relationships to get to the top. You just think you're going to do it all by yourself, man, you're confused and you're very, very arrogant.
Huge.
So.
And that was actually one of our first videos that we put on this channel, was how important relationships are to me and how they have been and how they truly drive the business. And I want to support people that I have relationships with, rather than someone coming in off the street being like, here, this is a whiskey or this is a liqueur, carry it.
And then you're pushing brands that you don't know the people, you're making them a crap ton of money. It's just, I mean, trust me, it makes sense for you because you're making the money as well, but it just don't, when you start feeling people with the brands and you actually, get to touch them on a day-to-day basis, don't get me wrong, I might drink a lot of Jack Daniels, right? Because Twin P whiskey ain't everywhere, but Jack Daniels ain't getting back up and coming in there and walking there and say, hey there, everyone.
Of course.
So.
Yeah. So through and through, you guys are whiskey guys more than anything?
Yeah, no. So we are personally, but what makes us the most money in our alcohol industry is JF.
Yeah, of course. No, so it's an interesting point that you made too, Mike, on wanting to build the brand. Because when you bought JF Hayden, it was a brand already. Yep. And I knew a little bit of the brand beforehand, but obviously you guys have taken it to a whole nother level. But the goal, and I think this is a cool thing for people to think about and know too, is that your ultimate goal is to build this brand and then sell it and kind of work on something new. And that's what I think is a cool part of the industry, and a lot of folks sometimes don't really see that next step. And so, I mean, elaborating on that's awesome. So
no, you have to look at the next step, right? Because cocktail menus are changing, trends are changing all the time. It's a new generation of kids coming. So if you think that you're just gonna have, the brand is out there for millions and millions of years, I mean, you can, right? But then you're gonna start losing placements. You're not gonna have the same amount of case numbers per year, right? You're starting to spend a lot more in marketing and all the other, having reps and pushing the market. You know what I mean? It just takes away from what you truly trying to build, and that's generational wealth. So
yeah, huge. So would you ever want to sell the whiskey company, or you feel like that's going to be, since it's Twin P, Pouncey Brothers, obviously?
I don't know. So we still have our distillery, right? So our plan is always to have our distillery, right? We don't never want to get outside the alcohol industry, but the whiskey part's hard, right? It's like trying to convert someone over to this. It's like us as adults, right? We're so stuck in our ways sometimes, but I will say once the trends are starting to change with whiskey, they're starting to go on a lot more menus, right? As far as like cocktail placements, right? You usually only see an old fashioned on there, and it's right to the martinis and the margaritas. But now you're starting to see the sidecars, the whiskey colas, you know what I mean? The hot honey whiskey. So it's building to the portfolio, and obviously you got to start. As the alcohol industry starts to change, you have to start to find new ways to, bring people back, because all of a sudden it seems like everyone's trying to say that alcohol is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything in life is a bad thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, cereal's bad, heart tarts are bad, you know what I mean? So,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course, of course.
So so it's just, you're just trying to re-innovate to what people, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying keep downing 6 bottles of whiskey on a day-to-day basis, but alcohol makes things social, right? It makes you want to go out there. It gives you, a piece of getting outside of your day-to-day routine a little bit. So we push on the advocacy part of it. Like, listen, we're not saying go be alcoholics, right?
Sure.
But alcohol is still fun, right? We're not trying to push this narrative to where it's such the baddest thing in the world now. So.
Oh, believe me, I'm right on. I'm with you. It's paying my bills the same way it's paying yours. So I totally get it, and it's one of those things where, it's just like you said, everything's bad, and you can't just be harping on one thing. Right. But it's such a cool and social, like you said, and an educational piece too. I mean, the educational piece for me is always such a cool factor. So did y'all, I guess, ever think when you were suiting up Dolphins and Steelers jerseys that you would be strapping it around to liquor and wine festivals?
Carrying around 6-packs.
And literally showing off your lychee liqueur and stuff like that? Like, was that ever even a thought?
Never was a thought.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we always knew we'd do something. Like, we're just a guy, we like working.
Yeah.
We like being outside the house, but we never envisioned that it'd be an alcohol.
We honestly thought it was gonna have like a restaurant
Like a
lounge
lounge.
type
Okay.
thing, where it was on, because we're, like Mike said, we're very talkable people, right?
Yeah.
We like seeing people on a day-to-day basis, going out there, talking to people and, hearing experiences and telling our experiences, right? But thank God that we didn't do that. So we're not in there flipping French fries and everything on a day-to-day. But don't get me wrong, I would, if it's making us money, we would love to do it. But man, this industry right here, man, is amazing, right? You're in different states all the time. you're around different types of people. I mean, the amount of events that we do that kind of foster us and kind of keep us young-minded a little bit. But obviously, as we're growing in the alcohol industry, that's going to wear off at something after probably about 10 years now.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Is there any big plans down the road that you guys are seeing and looking at that is out there industry-wise that you want to do? Is there anything else?
So now I think it's just us was doing all big national accounts, right?
Yeah.
So we got a lot of big things coming up here in the near future with Buffalo Wild Wings, TGI Fridays, AMC Theaters, Fat Tuesdays. Now I can't tell you all the the stuff we already know, but some really great things for 2026 for sure.
No, man, that's exciting.
Eventually, man, we ever sell JF Hayden's brand, we'd love to move our distillery to Okeechobee. We own 220 acres up there. We have our ranch where we kind of built our homes on and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's the end goal for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, be up there ranching. We got a bunch of cattle.
Oh yeah.
The John Deere's.
Yeah.
Our friends laugh at us all the time. Like, man, y'all up there cutting the grass? Yeah, we got a dad out there keeping him young. You know?
That's awesome. And obviously, you guys are doing stuff with the football still, right?
Youth football. Yep. So we coach youth football down in Miramar. My son plays on the team. Keith comes out, gives a lot of his time to the kids, but we do it a lot. It's a year-round thing. So as soon as we're done with tackle, we go right in the flag, 7v7, and then we also work out in the off season. So we give our kids a different experience. We give them that experience that we had. Like, it was like, if you really want to be a professional athlete, there's no such thing as time off.
Yeah.
Like, man, lawyers don't take time off. They don't say, hey, 3 months out of the year, I'm just not going to be a lawyer. They don't do that.
Yeah,
so
it's paying off. Your social media is insane, number one.
Yeah,
and number two, some of these kids are getting offers.
Yeah, they are. Yep, they're doing
And how old are they?
They're going into 7th grade, so a lot of them just turning 12.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of them just turned 12.
We've been to 5 different states so far. I mean, they done had some really.
We got a good group of parents, because you know what? Because youth football is all about the parents, right? Like, the kids can't get themselves there. Like, the parents have a lot of say in what their kid wants, where they want to play at, what they think their kid is the greatest player ever, or what position they think they should play.
Yeah.
And so, like, we just have a good group of parents that understand. Like, listen, we trust in you guys. Y'all been there. And we're very fair to all the kids. Like, we have all of our kids, like, even though we have a first team and second team, we really look at all of them as first teamers. Because we really built like an all-star team. And literally, if we just go and say, hey, you go play that position today, you're gonna do the same outcome. Yeah. And so, like, we just have a good group of parents, man, that make it easy for us to want to be out there and give our free time, because we're not getting paid for it. Yeah. And we're literally 5 days out of the week. 5 days out of the week, we're traveling different states, we're doing everything. But it's fun, man, because you know what? My son's into it, and so it makes it enjoyable. Like, I don't know if I could ever coach youth football if my kid wasn't in it, because you get nothing from it besides just the experience of helping kids out. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's no one out there that can say you guys aren't busy. Oh yeah. So that's cool. So with that busy schedule, I know it's I appreciate it big time for y'all to come in here and get to chat a little bit and give some perspective to folks that see what's a little bit more behind all this. And when they pass by and see these bottles on the shelf now at Liquor Depot, they're like, okay, we saw that YouTube video with the Pouncey brothers, and so I love it. What I would tell people too is that, man, whenever you have something, you start something, believe in it, right? Yeah. There's always going to be, the negative turns and the people that are so against you, right? But don't believe in your dream, right? Because dreams come into fruition because you believe in them, right? And then once they come into fruition, people start, having the same type of dreams as you have. But I will say, man, you've seen it from the beginning, right? We've revamped the whole entire company from the square bottles where it's not bartender friendly. Even for you, you're turning it sideways. To help us out to put it on the shelf, and rightfully so, because I mean, there's thousands of brands, right? But so we revamped that whole entire process, and we just, I think. The best thing to say is that we've had some great success in our life. We've been successful in some areas, but in this part of our life, I think we're rookies, right? We're still learning on a day-to-day basis. We love the experience, right? So we're not too arrogant enough to not, get around people and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, or you need to, look at it this way. You know what I mean? So I think, and as far as the business part, believe in everything that you have, right? Never forgive that part of it, but man, be able to listen too, right? Because people have been there before and they failed before, and they don't want to see you do it too. So. 100%. Yep. Getting around good people and learning from folks in every aspect of it is cool. So appreciate it, guys. Big time. Do you mind signing some bottles? We're gonna throw them into the store. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Behind the Bottle with the Pouncey brothers. They are great to talk to, really inspirational for me in this business and just absolutely hustling it. I wanted to give a little opportunity to kind of show you what the liqueur brand is that they have. So these are the 5 flavors that we carry here at Liquor Depot: the key lime pie, the mango, the lychee, the espresso, and the citrus. All incredible on their own, but they make awesome cocktails as well. For their bourbon, this is Twin P Bourbon. And so this is their bourbon that is
from the Pouncey brothers, and they signed it for us. So we do have some bottles going to the Bears and the Waters location. So if you guys have a chance, come in and grab. They're awesome bourbon, but also get it when it's signed. So just wanted to give a little close-up of the products that we talked about in the video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Appreciate you, sir.
Can down there.